Hello, my name is Sam Allen, and this is my fourth presentation for Geology 105, History of the World. Today I'll be talking on one mass extinction in the history of the Earth. What is a mass extinction? Is it when a lot of things die? Or is it when almost everything dies? A mass extinction is defined by dictionary.com as the extinction of a large number of species in a relatively short period of time, geological time, thought to be due to factors such as a catastrophic global event or widespread environmental change that occurs too rapidly for most species to adapt. Geological time is in reference in millions of years, not just the day or a few years. In all of Earth's history, there's been 5 massive extinctions, and they are known in order from oldest to new as Ordovician, Devonian, Permian, Triassic, and Cretaceous. In each of these events, life on the planet almost ceased to exist. Today, though, I'll only explain one of these events in great detail. That event being the Triassic mass extinction, which took place roughly 200 million years ago. But to fully understand this event, one needs to know a few important points. These important points being what led to the Triassic period, plant and animal life of the Triassic period, tectonic plate location of the Triassic period extinction event, and finally the outcome of the Triassic mass extinction. First, to understand it, one must understand what led to the Triassic period. The Triassic period is located in the Mesozoic era. This was said by the Encyclopedia Britannica Online. This period took place from 252 million years ago to 201 million years ago. The period right before the Triassic period was the Permian period. The Permian period is located in the Paleozoic era. The Permian period held the last mass extinction, which is known by scholars as the Great Dying, in which 96% of all life on Earth died. This information was provided by National Geographic Online. This mass extinction eventually would lead into the Mesozoic era and would begin the Triassic period. Second, having known what led to the Triassic period, one must understand the plants and animal of this period that went extinct and those who are still around today. The plants and insects that survived the Permian extinction and the Triassic extinction are mosses, ferns, spiders, centipedes, beetles, millipedes, and scorpions. In this period of time, the first reported grasshoppers were found. Now, the way we are actually sure about these plants and insects are by fossil records, said livescience.com, which showed, in the context of these plants and animals, these insects and these plants, impressions on rocks. The 2 animal groups that survived the Permian extinction were the centipedes, and the archosaurs. Both these groups are reptilian of nature. This led to the era being known as the Age of the Reptiles. The centipedes later evolved into the first mammals, which would evolve into us, while the archosaurs would evolve into dinosaurs, which would lead to the birds. Animals that went extinct during the massive extinction were 13 families including an example of the rhinoceros. Now, tetrapods are animals with four limbs, like us. For plants, it was the seed ferns. A few examples of seed ferns would be the Glossioperidicea, the Peltaspermacea, and the Choriospormacea. Now, this was evidence was gathered together by fossils and explained by a University of Bristol geology website. The importance of this event was that 70 to 75% of species on Earth were killed off in this one mass extinction event. This was said by Bill Brynson in his book, A Short Theory of Nearly Everything. The third important factor of the Triassic period was the plate location. The continent was connected together into a supercontinent called Pangaea, which you may have heard of. And this was at the end of the Paleozoic era and the beginning of the Triassic period. This was said by the encyclopedia.com. The importance of having one massive continent is that it allowed for the spread of species to each location without the natural barrier of the ocean. By the end of the period, these tectonic plates were shifting into two separate supercontinents, being Laurasia and Gondwanaland. The reason for the spread was seafloor spreading at the bottom of the Tether Sea and subduction by the North American plates. These would eventually form mountains, which we can still see the outcome today. This was reported by the University of California Museum of Paleontology. The next major importance is the actual Triassic extinction. In this, geologists and paleontologists agree that a few certain events caused this mass extinction. The hypothesis is a mixture of two major aspects: climate change and flood basalt eruptions. This was reported by bbc.co.uk. Now, a flood basalt eruption, which is defined by dictionary.com as a very extensively lava flow balsamic composition that has a fissure, often be found as a part of a series of flows, one on top of another, forming a plateau. What these eruptions possibly caused were possibly by the movements of the plate that formed Laurasia and Gondwanaland, as well as the subduction of the North American continental plate. Now, this was caused during those plates shifting during this period of time. The eruption also kicked a bunch of CO2 in the air, the stuff we know today that caused climate change. Back then, it caused the climate to shift as well. The climate shift went from a wet, warm climate to a hot, dry one. This evidence actually comes from evaporites that were found in sand dunes. This was in the article from livescience.com. The mixture of these two natural events would cause a short period of time where certain animals that couldn't adapt eventually would die off. Now, we know these animals would actually make up, animals and plants, would make up 70 to 75% of species on Earth that eventually didn't make it to this period. But we need to ask the last. What's the last important factor in the outcome of this mass extinction? Well, the Mesozoic era is called the Age of the Dinosaurs for a reason. The reason being that they had the ability to survive the Triassic event, Extinction event, while others didn't. While others died off, their numbers actually grew. And what they found was actually surprising was plants, besides the sea ferns, did not suffer as much as animals. Now, 70 to 75% of animals and plants died, species died off. Plants just didn't die as much. Not as many plants died off. What it also did, it gave the mammals the chance to grow in size and evolve to further have the ability to survive different climates. The Triassic extinction event was an event that changed the world. The life on Earth faced this challenge, and they either died or they adapted to survive. Now, these adaptations that these species learned back then can still be seen today, being these archosaurus becoming birds, or these humans being made from these mammal reptilian species. The important part of this is while 70 to 75% of species were killed, there were species that actually did not die and survived.
Wow.
As it was in Jurassic Park, it shall be always. And the famous quote, "Life finds a way," can be seen through this event. While species died, a lot didn't, and survived, and flourished. Thank you.